Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the EPIC Research Module Phase 2, Additional Functionality for Participant Safety, Recruitment, Research Billing, and Compliance. Today, our presenters are Debbie Lee and Kim Brannon. Debbie is a training manager for Clinical Trials Center of Excellence, where she has oversight of the Principal Investigator Academy and training associated with the Center of Excellence. She has over 17 years of experience in the research industry at a contract research organization prior to joining WVU in 2018. A fun fact, she says, my Subaru brakes at all large yard sales. So last year she got an iRobot for $50 and it was almost brand new, which I've actually heard it come on during the day sometimes.
You didn't have to tell that secret.
And Kim Brannon. Kim is a system analyst and EPIC ambulatory trainer for WVU Medicine. She's responsible for training and development of clinical staff and also troubleshooting any issues that may occur with EPIC EMR system. She has over 20 years experience as a nurse. She's worked at Berkeley Medical Center as quality and ambulatory clinical training and EPIC ambulatory trainer before coming to WVU Medicine. And a fun fact about her, which I thought was pretty cool, she was a rodeo barrel racer prior to becoming a nurse.
Wow.
And a new grandma, right, Kim?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So exciting. All right, before we get started, if you've just now joined, please put your name and email address in our chat box. We are able to offer CEs today. So if you're a WVU employee and you do want CDs, please indicate that. Debbie, I'm going to turn off my screen just so I can take attendance, but I will, if you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. Debbie and Kim both want to take your questions throughout this. Or if you place them in the chat box, I will be watching that and I'll unmute myself and ask questions. So please ask questions if you have any. That way everybody, I'm sure if you're thinking it, someone else is too. So please don't be afraid to ask, okay? So I'm going to pass it over to Debbie.
Awesome. Can you guys see my slide? Make sure. Okay, awesome. So if you didn't know, you're here for EPIC Research Module Phase 2, and I'm actually going to kind of start the presentation, and then we are going to, I'm going to pass it to Kim, and she's actually going to do a demo. So you'll actually get to see these processes or see where they will be held in EPIC. So my agenda for today, I'm once again going to give you a high-level overview of the EPIC Research Module Phase 2. I'm going to review a new form. It's called the RSH Submission Form. And then we're going to do, we, meaning Kim, will do an EPIC demonstration. All right, so some new items with this Phase 2 is a contraindicated medication warning. So what this is intended audience is for non-research clinicians, right? So if your patient happens, to go into the ER things, they can see that. So it's going to help prevent placing patients on a medication that disqualifies them from participation in a research study. There's also the MyChart recruitment of patients. The intended audience for that is patients. It's kind of in the name of the title, right? But it allows direct recruitment of patients for research studies. So that's really exciting because sometimes I know I've heard, trying to recruit patients. I'm someone that's very active in looking for clinical trials because obviously I understand the importance of them. Just a reminder that if you are going to use the MyChart recruitment, it does have to be IRB approved. The MyChart participation referrals, once again, this is intended for patients. It allows a patient to actually self-select their preferences for participation in research studies. So once again, if I'm a patient that is interested in research, I will be able to indicate that in MyChart. And then there's hyperspace recruitment preference. This is intended for clinical staff. So the purpose is to allow end users to directly indicate a patient's research preferences within hyperspace. So once again, that intended audience is the clinical staff. And then we also have direct recruitment via BPA. And you might be thinking, oh, Debbie, there's a new acronym. Well, you know, that's what it is. But I did put the definition here. So BPA stands for Best Practice Advisory. So it's a functionality available in Epic to assist in patient recruitment where care providers are alerted to patients in the clinic that meet the eligibility criteria. So once again, very exciting to have this feature in Epic. The intended audience is non-research clinicians. And that purpose is to allow the end user to directly enroll or recommend patients for inclusion in a research study at the point of care. Once again, just reminding, if you are going to use the BPA recruitment method, it does have to be IRB approved. I do want to point out at the Center of Excellence, we do have standard operating procedures, and that's just to provide guidance to help define, standard practices and ensure execution of human subject research is compliant. And we do have an SOP on recruitment, which provides a procedure on the MyChart and the MBPA. So if you're interested in that, once again, these slides will be sent out after not today, probably Monday. So you can definitely click on that link to go directly to our SOPs. Also upcoming is an SOP on the use of Epic for clinical trials and research order sets. So be on the lookout for that as well. The other thing is study-specific research tasks within Epic. The intended audience is the research coordinators. And the purpose is reminding research coordinators for non-clinical and non-billing related tasks that need to be completed for research visits. Just want to point out here that this is optional and it may duplicate if you're using the task list in Encore. So just want to point that out. All right, so let's take a look at this new form. It's called the RSH Submission Form. So give me just a second here just to switch gears. All right, so this is the form. Don't get scared if you're not an Excel person. The Epic team has, and everybody providing guidance with Epic, working with Epic. And I think it's really user-friendly in my personal opinion. So, but then I'm kind of an Excel geek, so maybe I'm not the best person, but it's really great. So each tab here, on the very first tab, we have instructions. In this form, I just want to highlight a couple things before we get into it. It's used for new study builds only. So I hope you didn't think, oh my gosh, I have 50 studies and now you're telling me I have to fill out this form. It's only for new study builds. If any components come up during the study, so maybe after today's training, you're like, yeah, we really need to be able to use that MyChart feature, for example. Once again, it needs to be IRB approved. Another form doesn't need to be completed. Only a ShareWell ticket needs to be created. So just let you know that. You would submit this form once you obtain your WVIRB number, and then you would put it in the ShareWell ticket. For example, some tabs, and you might have to update that ticket as well, right? So you just have your IRB number, but you haven't received the approval yet. Some of the things we're going to go through, it's going to require your approval letter and some other documents. So just like you update tickets with IT, you'll be able to update the ShareWell ticket with those items as well. I do want to point out for central IRB, you do need to wait to get the central IRB approval before you submit this. So they're a little bit different between WVU IRB and central IRB. Well, I will discuss why we go through in some of these, which is great, that you can. So for example, let's just look at the order set here. It says type in your needed orders, but it also says if you already have one typed up, simply attach a PDF or a Word document to the Sharewell ticket, or if you have it on Excel. But I do want to point out if the Excel cannot be uploaded, if it has macros in it. So I just want to point that out. And the sheet is going to, it is a working sheet. I will tell you, I've seen several versions of this now since we started like 3 weeks ago, because the Epic team wants to make sure that this is user friendly, right? If it's not working for every department, we want to change that. So this will be housed in the Epic Learning Home dashboard within Epic. So I would, in my personal opinion, I would say don't save it to your documents. Always go back to that learning dashboard in Epic, so you always have the most recent copy. All right, so now let's start going through the form. So step 1 is to have the study in Encore, if applicable, because we're going to talk about, there's some updates coming from Encore, so that would be very helpful. Step number 2, once again, open that Sharewell ticket, fill out all the pertinent information. And then they listed instructions for each of the tabs. So once again, a lot of information here. So definitely, and you'll have a chance to go through this. So any changes to your current build, once again, submission form is not necessary. Simply submit a Sharewell ticket. So don't think you have to do this for all your studies currently. All right, so let's go on to the order set. So one of the things that we want to make sure, and we're asking you to do, is make sure that you look at the top of every tab across here. And you may say to me, well, Debbie, I see that it's down here, it says send out lab. Well, I'm not sending out lab. Why do I have to look at it? We want to make sure that we're communicating to the Epic team that we have looked at every tab, right? So what they've done is at the very top of every tab, they're asking, do you have an order set? Yes or no. So they are asking you to look at every tab and put in that yes or no at the top. Obviously, if it's yes, you probably need to do some more work on that tab. So once again, very highlighted here in yellow to bring your attention to fill out these questions. And once again, there's information here, don't recreate the wheel. If you already have your order sets in a list and it provides the same information, please, go ahead and attach that to your Sharewell ticket instead of retyping it. So if that makes sense. And this probably looks really familiar to anyone that's currently working with order sets. Please know that this RSH submission form is replacing your current order set. So you'll just have to fill this out. And once Mark builds the order set, he moves the order set to Epic Playground because once again, he wants you to go into the playground, make sure it's set up correctly because, you might getting blood work, you might be getting an MRI with contrast, an MRI without contrast, 6 months later. So he wants to go in and make sure that he really set them up correctly. And these are tickets. So as we all know, tickets have metrics attached to the back of them with the number of days they've been open. So Mark does email you to let you know that's been placed in the playground. So just communicate back with him because once again, his bosses are asking, why has this ticket been outstanding for 14 days? And it's okay. He even said to me, it's okay if they say, hey, I'm busy. I'll look at this, 2 weeks from now, or our study's been placed on hold. So once again, just communicating back with them. All right. And also here as well, I know that they asked for the ECG, PFT, sorry. Let me go back to the instructions here, sorry. They do ask, be specific as possible. So supply the actual Epic order name, Epic order number. If you know the CPT code as well, please indicate that as well on the Excel sheet or on your sheet that you might be providing. Okay. I'm assuming Carrie's going to stop me if there's questions. So send out lab. So same thing. There's a question here at the very top, yes or no. And then the Epic team, there's not very many questions to answer on this one, but the Epic team is actually going to take it and actually I don't know why it won't stay over there. Sorry. They're actually going to send it on to Mary Ann. So they'll take care of that. And then Mary Ann, if she needs to, will be in contact with you. So. All right, this is that best practice advisory. So that what we just talked about on the slide. Once again, there's that yes, no question at the very top. What you would do here is fill out your list of criteria the patient would need to meet. So the BPA is a functionality available in Epic to assist patient recruitment, where care providers are alerted to patients in clinic that meet that eligibility. So the BPA will look at the status of the study. So if the study status is not enrolling, for example, the BPA won't fire to the in basket. So just to let you know that. So it is smart and it does look at that before it sends it. Please make sure your criteria is, what's in your protocol, because the criteria entered is used to run that list. And then also you can see here, they're asking you to be specific with clinics, right? Because if you're only going to do this study in Morgantown, you don't want patients from Berkeley, right? Because that's too far for them to travel. So make sure you're specific with that as well. All right, we're going to go over to medications. I know this is shocking. Hey, there's a yes, no question here at the very top. So this one is your pharmacy investigational drug services. So once again, reaching out to, the pharmacy investigational drug listserv. But still going down here and answering these questions as well. We talked about medication contra interdiction alerts. Once again, yes, no, be very specific with this information here as well. Once again, if you already have it in a PDF or Word document, and feel free to attach that to your Sharewell ticket as well. All right, let me scroll over here. There's more tabs. There's more coming. There's my chart. So here at the top, once again, you would do yes or no if you have that, or if you have that in your IRB submission, right? And you can see here, remember I talked about, you probably will not have that IRB approval letter yet, or your approved my chart recruitment letter, but you can attach that to the Sharewell ticket later. And once again, listing the study inclusion criteria here. I'm just making sure I go through all my notes to make sure I tell you everything. All right, our billing protocols and protocol calendar. If the protocol calendar, they are going to reach out to you and do that one-on-one, talk to you about this. The potential to decrease the amount of billing research review. So that's why this is important to look at that. And you need to associate any encounter to the study in order for the billing protocol to work. All right, there is special pricing. So once again, making sure we answer that yes or no. And there's some additional questions here as well to answer. And you may have to reach out to your accountant. The coordinator may know as well, but you may have to reach out to your accountant to maybe answer some of these questions. Our last tab here is the research study calendar task. Once again, still a yes, no question. So make sure you answer that. And then this is just an example list of tasks within Epic. And you can definitely provide a further explanation. Also, that IT analyst is going to set up a one-on-one meeting with you as well. By using those tasks within Epic, there are advantages, right? One, everybody can see the task. I know, sometimes when I did regulatory, I had paper files, right? Well, people couldn't see what I was doing. So that way it's more open to everybody that's working on the project. And you'll see the task automatically in Epic, and the completed ones do go to the bottom of your list. So they, it's very intuitive to say, hey, these are the ones you need to currently work on. And as you can see, once again, that's a broad general task, but you can definitely discuss specific tasks when you have that one-on-one meeting with the IT analyst. All right, so with that, I'm going to pop back to my slides here for a second. I know we talked about this a little bit, but once again, never hurts to hear it again. So the timeline is once you have your WVU IRB number is available, you can go in and complete that RSH submission form. Submit your Sharewell ticket to initiate that build. Once again, that Sharewell ticket can be submitted at the time as WVU IRB submission if this is the IRB of record. Tickets should be submitted only after obtaining IRB approval if you're using a central IRB.
Okay, Debbie.
Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
interrupt you? There was a question in the chat.
Okay.
So it says, if I want to use my chart months after the study has started and my original Sharewell ticket is closed, do I just submit a new ticket?
That is a great question. I'm going to look at Kim and Kathy to see.
I can answer that.
Okay.
So yes, you would. You wouldn't have to find your original Sharewell ticket. You just simply open up a new ticket, and you do not have to fill out that form. That's exactly right. But if you can refer to that form and see what specifics that we need, and just make sure that you supply those specifics. If it's a My Chart request, then that would be the WVU IRB approval letter along with the other form that needs to be approved as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that came through the chat. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Shelley Welch. All right. Good questions. Good questions. Was that the only question, Carrie? Sorry, I shouldn't assume.
Yeah, that's the only question right now.
Okay. So once again, those meetings can happen with the EPIC team. Like once you submit that Sharewell, for example, they might be meeting with you regarding your task list, things like that. Upon receiving WVU IRB approval, update your ticket. So that ticket should still be open. So once again, just making sure that you add that approval letter, approval for your recruitment letter as well, anything that needs to be added. Once it's built, it will be moved over to production for you. Okay. I do want to talk about upcoming Encore and EPIC integration. So this is upcoming. So there's phase one, it's the RPE interface, where it's going to send basic research protocol information and subject information from Encore to EPIC to initiate and update the RSH record. So the potentially can replace the Sharewell ticket process and the manual study coordinator actions in EPIC. Protocol parameters include title, PI, IRB number, NCT number, protocol type and status, excuse me. Subject parameters include subject, protocol association, subject status, active, start, and end dates as well. And then the phase two of this integration is the CRPC interface, and that'll be additional calendar and financial functionality through the protocol billing grid as well. And that's going to send time points and visits with associated charge master events and labs from Encore to EPIC. Research study team members potentially will no longer be required to review and approve every charge in EPIC. So once again, that's why at the very beginning of that RSH submission, very important. If your study, currently is an Encore, that's great. But you might want to think about putting it in Encore because of what's coming as well. To see the EPIC demonstration by Kimberly Brennan, it did need to be housed on a different platform. So please feel free to email Carrie Rogers or myself. And our emails can also be located in the description of this YouTube video. And as always, thank you for your time.